So welcome everyone. I'm Sue Leitch and I'm the CEO of COTA Tasmania. COTA is an organisation that has a very strong interest in older people of Tasmania, and we're here to support them and to celebrate them. I would like to start this morning by taking this opportunity to acknowledge and pay respect to the traditional owners of Lutruwita, Tasmania. We acknowledge their continuing connection to and the custodianship of the land, seas, airs and waterways, and commit ourselves to the ongoing journey of reconciliation. We honour elders past, present and emerging. So good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us in our webinar today about the Tasmanian Liveable Communities Toolkit launch and webinar. I'm going to just give you a little bit of information before we get going. As way of introduction, we have about half the Tasmanian councils represented in the attendee list, which is great, and we really appreciate the time that people have given to attend, especially in this current circumstances where we're very busy due to the current situation. The webinar will include the launch of the Liveable Communities Toolkit, and this will be briefly explained by our project officer in this area, Ros Herbert. We're then going to hear some presentations about what's happening in this space from Legat, West Coast Council, Clarence City Council, Huon Valley Council and Central Coast Council. So welcome to all the presenters from there. This is really about the importance of keeping our community connected and included, and this has been highlighted significantly during COVID-19. And the Liveable Communities provide a powerful framework to build on this and make sure that it continues to happen. If ever we needed this webinar, it's now. Just to let you know that if you're attending, the presenters won't be able to see or hear you, but we know that you are there, and there's opportunity to chat through the chat function. We'll be taking questions and answers through the Q&A panel. If you hover over the bottom bar, you will see that function called Q&A, and you can post questions in there. The webinar will be recorded for viewing afterwards, and there'll be a minute or two at the end of each of the presentations for Q&A. So write them in the Q&A and not in the chat, because we'll be keeping an eye on Q&A for those questions. If we don't have time to address all your questions, please still post them, because we're going to get our panelists to respond by email later if we don't have time to get to them during the morning. If you would like more information about the Liveable Communities today or today's webinar, please get in touch with COTA Tas and we can do that. And look, we're really pleased to say that the Liveable Communities Toolkit has been funded by the Tasmanian Government's Strong Liveable Communities, Tasmania's Active Ageing Plan, which is currently in place. I'd like to acknowledge some VIPs who's responded for today. So we have the Honourable Sue Leitch MP, Speaker of the Tasmanian House of Assembly, Alison Standen MP, Shadow Minister for Housing, Climate Change, Environment, Parks and Heritage, the Honourable Mike Gaffney MLC, Independent Member for Mersey, the Honourable Rob Valentine, MLC, Independent Member for Hobart, Mary Knowles, OAM, Mayor of the Northern Midlands Council, Councillor Christine Campbell from the Huon Valley Council, Councillor Summer Metzke from Latrobe Valley Council, Latrobe Council, my apologies. Carmen Ransley, CEO of AXA. Danielle Goss, representing the Honourable Rebecca White MP, Leader of the Opposition. And we've also got some apologies I'll quickly run through. The Honourable Peter Gutwin MP, Premier of Tasmania, Honourable Guy Barminette MP, Honourable Elise Archer MP, Honourable Sarah Courtney MP, Honourable Gavin Pearce MP, Senator Jonathan Duniam, Senator Wendy Askew, Honourable Rebecca White MP, Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Julie Collins MP, Cassie O'Connor MP, Leader of the Tasmanian Greens, the Honourable Josh Willey MLC, Honourable Sarah Lovell MLC, Honourable Weg Meb MLC, the Honourable Rosemary Armitage MLC, and Christine Holmdale, Mayor of West Tamar Council. So I would now like to pass over to our Minister, the Honourable General Rockliff MP, who's Deputy Premier, Minister for Disability Services and Community Development. So I pass over to the Minister.
Well, thank you very much, Sue. I'm assuming everyone can hear me. I get a few nods there. That's good. I've lost my face on the screen though, so if anyone can, am I right to go, Sue? I can't hear you at the moment. I'll start my video. How's that? Is that better?
Excellent.
Yes, that's great. And can you spotlight?
What was that spotlight? There you go.
There we go. Thank you.
Okay, well, thanks very much, Sue. I think the words "you're on mute" or "please start your video" is going to be the 2020 phrase, I think, for all of us. But thank you, and thanks very much for inviting me today to, of course, launch the toolkit. Can also thank you, Sue, for acknowledging our traditional owners of the land of which we all are now sitting or standing, and I pay my respects to our Tasmania's First People and their elders past, present and emerging. Can I acknowledge, of course, my parliamentary colleagues that are also online, Sue, Alison, Mike and Rob. I think we've got Daniel representing the Leader of the Opposition, Rebecca White, Mary Knowles as well, Mayor Knowles, sorry, and all councillors that are on board as well, and all the list that you read out, Sue, thank you very much, but also your COTA team as well, and thank you very much for our dialogue, interactions over the course of the last number of months since I've had the pleasure of holding this portfolio, and it's not the first time that we've launched a program or a partnership together, Sue, so that's terrific. Today I'm of course launching the updated Liveable Communities Toolkit, developed by the Council of Ageing Tasmania, of course, which we all refer to as COTA. It's my great pleasure to do so. And I hope everyone has looked after yourselves and each other over the course of the last number of months. It's been unprecedented times, and I particularly thank all the people on today that have supported their fellow community members. I know it's been very difficult, and I recognise, Sue, that the people that you represent and advocate for more vulnerable members of our community due to the impact of COVID-19, and I respect the way that you've been a very strong advocate in that space as well. But there are many opportunities, I suppose, of the times we now live in, and most of us have come up to speed most certainly with the technology and the opportunity of technology, and so this is a great example of it today. It's also our health services have adapted as well to these times, and the increased use of telehealth could only be a good thing through this. And so I know these have been very challenging times and difficult for many, but we must look at all the opportunities that present ourselves as well, and policymakers in terms of the future. So I understand that today's launch builds on the work that COTA undertook a number of years ago to build a community of practice around the World Health Organization Global Friendly Cities and Communities Framework. And the framework includes, of course, as you'd be well aware, domains aimed at creating age-friendly cities and communities to help cities and communities see themselves from the perspective of older people, which of course COTA has a major role in. So COTA has already developed and produced an excellent series of toolkit resources around a number of these domains, and a global network of age-friendly cities and communities developed. And it's great to see that several Tasmanian local government councils are part of this network today, and I acknowledge you as well again, and thank you. Livability, as you would all appreciate, is very important to us all. We all might have different ideas about what makes a place livable, but there are a number of common characteristics found in most definitions, and a livable neighbourhood is one which is easy and comfortable, of course, to carry out our daily life and routine for a range of different people. This essentially means, of course, ensuring quality development which is well integrated into the local area and accompanied by infrastructure and services needed to support that. While our major cities, of course, are undergoing an urban transformation to higher density, and this is particularly, of course, relevant to Australia's largest cities, which face, of course, as we all know, significant infrastructure pressures. Our smaller cities, such as Hobart, face different challenges in terms of retaining population growth and building local industries as well, and we're all accustomed to that. Population is ageing. It's a global phenomenon, and Tasmania, of course, is leading Australia in this trend. Of all Australian states and territories, Tasmania has the fastest ageing population, and Sue, you're well aware of all that, which makes it all the more important that COTA is here and your advocacy. Almost 180,000 Tasmanians, so that's almost a third of the population, are expected to be over 65 by 2060. And as COTA points out in its Embracing the Future report, a report that was released last year, Tasmania should embrace its ageing population, but it also, very importantly, needs to plan for it. Policymakers on the state and federal and local levels have very important roles to play in designing and maintaining, and at times redeveloping and retrofitting communities to be active places where residents of all ages, including older residents, can fully participate in life. And certainly we recognise that around this table, and with the communication we've had, of course, with COTA, that we also have a very key role to play in supporting Tasmanians as they age. I'm pleased the Tasmanian government is able to provide some support, Sue, to you and your team at COTA to ensure that older Tasmanians stay empowered, connected and informed during also these unprecedented and very difficult times, as we know. In conclusion, can I say that all our technological advances, facilities, housing, road design, walkability, transportation and supportive services all affect whether and for how long people can remain in the community as they age. So livable, age-friendly communities make for happier, healthier residents of every age and through all life stages. And that's very important to me, not just with my community development hat on as I stand here today, but also, of course, I wear a number of other hats, including mental health and wellbeing, which, of course, is very relevant to the subject that we're talking about today. So the suite of combined resources that comprise the toolkit on livable communities has been expertly drafted in a way that clearly communicates to the reader. And of course, whether it be a local council or a person with a passion for creating a livable community on what we can do collectively to bring about cities, our towns, our communities, whose residents all agree that it is a great place to live. So thank you very much, Sue, for the opportunity to launch the updated toolkit. I commend you and your team at COTA on its work in developing the 2020 toolkit. I have much pleasure in launching it today, and I have much pleasure also acknowledging that Seniors Week this week, if I just finish off here, coming up between the 12th and the 18th of October. Now, just to make sure that everyone's aware that Metro Tasmania will be offering free transport to seniors. To date, also more than 50 organisations have registered to hold face-to-face events compliant, of course, with social distancing rules, and a diverse range of online events will also be on offer as well. So we look forward to that Seniors Week, Sue. So thanks very much for inviting me firstly to launch the toolkit today. It's my great pleasure to do so. Thanks for our interactions we've had in recent months. I really very much appreciate that, and of course that will continue. I am available till around 10:30 to keep listening to the discussion, so I look forward to that, and of course we'll chat about the rest of the outcome of the rest of the meeting that I won't be in attendance for, Sue, but thank you very much for the opportunity to say a few words, and I wish everyone the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you. And look, at COTA, we're very excited to hear that free travel is back for Seniors Week. That's a wonderful outcome and very pleasing. We've actually got 50 events that will be held in Seniors Week simultaneously simulcast. So we've got more than 50 events. So we're over the 100 events for Seniors Week, which is very admirable given the conditions that we're in at the moment. But it's great that 50 of those will be simulcast for people if they can't actually be present as well. It's now my great pleasure to introduce a really valuable team member at COTA Tasmania, Rosalind Herbert, or Ros as we know her, and she's been responsible for the extensive research and investigation, gathering information from across the world and Australia that has gone into the development of the toolkit. So now over to Ros.